This is the most incompetent, unqualified, useless president that this country has ever seen, that this country will ever produce. Can this country afford such luxury, opulence? Leave alone the 20 million watches that some of them are putting on, 2 million shoes that some of them are putting on. Yet our children are walking around with buttocks showing. It's shameful, Jed. And now as a president, you, William Ruto, what have you done for us? Other than Western Hotel, the land, which is under question. Other than the Royal land, which we're also questioning. Other than the fertilizer scam that we have problems with. The sugar that has mercury. All these things, mismanagement of the economy. What have you, William Ruto, done? They must be very, very careful because these are the things that are annoying Kenyans.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, Jed, if they don't change, I'm predicting Gen Z round 3 is coming. Gen Z round 3 is coming. This one will mapangali. Mapangali.
Great to see you. Hello there and welcome to Philip Kisia Unscripted. My name is Jadiel Kabiro. It is always a pleasure. It is always a joy to have you joining us every single Friday for this conversations to help build policy and politics here in Kenya. Today we're looking at state of the nation. A lot has happened. The president excusing the legislature of corruption, the judiciary coming out. CJ Martha Koome saying that the president should not vilify the judiciary for actually giving bonds and bails to those who have been accused. We'll also be talking about Rigathi Gachagua. He's coming back, and also we'll be talking about the president being the best president Kenya has ever had. I'm here with Philip Kisia. He's a leadership and governance expert, former Nairobi Town Clerk, ex-KICC CEO. Haven't seen him for 2 weeks. Of course, there's a lot to talk about. Good to see you. How are you?
Well, Jed, I'm good. You've been busy.
You've been busy. You've been busy. Last time I looked for you, you told me I'm not in that Nairobi of yours.
Once in a while.
Yeah?
Once in a while.
You travel, you move out.
Yes, I did.
So tell me, what are your thinking, reflections, highlights for this week?
Well, as you're aware, last weekend we buried a matriarch, a mother of my very good friend, Caesar Sio. So may the Almighty rest her soul in eternal peace. Phoebe was a wonderful lady. So remember for the good things she did for women. Now, but having said that, Jed, today I would like to start with a quote which I hope will inspire you and will inspire many people who will be watching this show today. And, when I came across this quote, it actually reminded me of Alexander the Great and what he said on his deathbed. And this quote, I find it so appropriate given the discussion that we're having today. It's actually befits and fitting very well in what has been going on in the last 1 week, and our president self-praising himself. So it says that you arrived in this earth, in this world, with nothing. But you spend your entire life chasing everything. But interestingly, when you exit, when you leave with nothing. So it says, make sure that your soul gains more than your hands. Make sure your soul gains more than your hands. I think this is so appropriate with the president. He should actually seek to have more gains in his soul than what he's receiving in his hands. And it reminded me, I said, of Alexander the Great. On his deathbed, he said, make sure that my coffin is carried by doctors. Not this you are carried, proper doctors. So that I can remind the entire world that it doesn't matter who you are. When time has come for you to exit on your deathbed, not even the best qualified doctors can help you. And he said, all the money, and I remembered William Ruto, all the money he has, billions of shillings. Now he has billions of dollars. He will leave them on earth. And Alexander said, what I have, please just sprinkle all the money on the road where my coffin will be carried through, to remind people that even not money can save you at the tail end of it, when you're exiting the stage. He also said, Alexander the Great, I think he was a great man, he said, let my hands fall off the coffin. Yeah? I think just remind people that you came with nothing, you are leaving empty-handed, and indeed, death is an equalizer. So for those who think that they are so great and greater than Alexander the Great, death is waiting for you, and we shall all be equal. Thank God that those of us who have not murdered children, murdered, maimed, harassed, abducted, Gen Z, at least will be buried 6 feet. And those who will be cremated in a manner that, confirms that your deeds were wonderful on earth. But those who, were ruthless, even the people who are cremating you will put a lot of firewood and that ghee or something to make sure that you burn completely. Not even the ashes will be found. Anyway,
The great
it reminds us, that death is not only an equalizer, but there's need to show humanity over pride. Just be humble. Don't be boastful, because death is coming, and I can tell you for sure you'll be equalized. So my reflection for this week, there are two, Jed. The first one, these two videos that I found very interesting this week, when I was reflecting about what has happened the last few days, a week and a half or so. I came across this video for Dr. Gladys West, an African American. So I'd want you to play that video. A great woman who invented GPS in the 1950s, even before I was born, many years before I was born. And then the second one is President Thabo Mbeki, former president of South Africa. Just play them out, because they both touch on leadership. And we've been talking about leadership for the last 2.5 years.
Dr. Gladys West, the black woman behind GPS. Can you believe this? Every time you use your GPS, you're standing on a black woman's brilliance, and most people don't even know her name. Every time you check your GPS, ask Siri for directions, or track a delivery, you're using technology created by a black woman.
But when have we sat down to say, now let us assess, no, you Thabo Mbeki, were president of South Africa for so long. Let's assess your performance. Did you provide this kind of leadership that is suitable for this Africa that we want? Where did you go wrong? We got the African peer review mechanism, which President Obasanjo can speak about. That's part of what it was supposed to do.
Well, we've just watched Thabo Mbeki and the inventor of GPS. Why do you find this video, especially this one for GPS, interesting? I can relate with Thabo Mbeki, but
You see,
Dr. West.
Dr. West, Gladys West, a powerful woman who studied mathematics. You know, these little things that people study and they're so boastful. Serious subject like mathematics, which even gave me problems. And I'm sure it gave you problems.
Yeah.
It never gave my children problems. They are scientists. This woman, look at how humble she was. Inventing something that many years later, more than 60 years later, is being used for effective communication and navigation. Effective. Almost 99% accurate. But she never came out to boast about it. Yeah? Kizuri, kiajuza, kibaya, chajitembeza. This, she just stayed in the back office. Many years later, in 2018, she was recognized by the US military as somebody who came up with this invention that became a game changer in terms of communication. A black woman, a woman for that matter. And when I keep on saying that women are the drivers of society, and when you put women in leadership, they can excel so long as they're supported. So I found it very humbling that, and I'm proud for Africans. I think Africans are just, sharp. Okay? So then I remembered, look at this woman, humble. But then you have a president who launches big growing something, He goes and gives people wheelbarrow. And then he talks about transformative leadership. When he's giving our children wheelbarrows and small little kiosks, how can you talk about technology, Jed? How can you talk about transformation when you are so myopic, when you are so small in thinking? You can't think big. You can't be a visionary leader when you're thinking small. You're thinking about a mkokoteni. You're thinking about a wheelbarrow. And people talk about innovation, technology, as early as 1950. We are in the 21st century. And William Ruto is talking about wheelbarrows. What a shame. And some small little kiosks for selling sausages. What a shame. So just draw the parallel. This lady in the 50s doing serious stuff. She was not even a president. And you have a president doing some silly stuff. And he wants us to recognize him as the best president. The other video, Jed, President Thabo Mbeki, and I liked it because he reminded African leaders that there's need for peer review. There's need for peer review. There's need to ask African leaders, they need to ask themselves about the quality of leadership they're providing for Africans and the African continent. Where are they taking Africa? Are they capable of taking Africa into the 22nd century with the type of quality that we have right now? Wheelbarrow mentality. Can these people even complete the 21st century? Are they supposed to be leading us in the 21st century? So, Thabo Mbeki, I'm sure, whatever he is, God bless him, he was trying to encourage this African leadership, African leaders, to have a peer review mechanism. But has that happened? And the Thabo said, if we don't do this peer reviews, we'll be talking about the same challenges 100 years from now. And it is there, it's happening.
What do you think they would think about with this president that we have, William Ruto, if we're having a peer review?
I don't know. But if I was there to review him, you see, and we're going to talk about that, Jed, later, about review, self-assessment vis-a-vis performance management. We'll talk about that later. But I'm sure I've had African heads of state talk about mediocrity in leadership in Africa. I've had President Paul Kagame of Rwanda talk about mediocrity, the mediocre leadership we have in Africa. I've heard of Museveni also hinting that there's a problem. No names were mentioned. So I don't know whether they were referring to Mr. William Ruto, because I'm not president. So definitely it cannot be me. It cannot be you. It can only be somebody who's a president. And because these two presidents come from East and Central Africa, they must have been talking about somebody in East and Central Africa. But let me look at my second
Your highlights.
My highlights for this week. But even before we look at the highlights, Jed, Thabo Mbeki asked a very pertinent question. He said, people will be asking, you Thabo Mbeki, what have you done? What have you achieved? You Thabo Mbeki. Then I said, okay, I think, although I'm not a president, but I'm a guy here, and I have capacity. I should be asking William Ruto, you William Ruto, what have you done for us? You say you've been in leadership as a member of parliament, as an assistant minister, as a minister, as a KANU youth winger, as a deputy president, and now as a president. You, William Ruto, what have you done for us? Other than Western Hotel, the land, which is under question. Other than the Royal land, which we're also questioning. Other than the fertilizer scam that we have problems with. The sugar that has mercury. All these things, mismanagement of the economy. What have you, William Ruto, done? What can we record? What can we talk about you positively? What I can see is failure from one to another failure. But let's talk about the highlights. The first video I want you, Jed, to talk about, to review, is the one from the CS Badi, the expert that we donated, the one who is in Treasury, and now my good friend, Honorable Shakil Shabir. Just play them.
All of us are guilty in one way or the other. Because Kenyans have suffered. Which budgetary provision? Go and read your constitution. Article 223 gives the cabinet secretary for national treasury, who is myself, the power to allocate funds if a need has arisen. And a need has already arisen. There is a need to compensate these people who have suffered. I will exercise that authority under Article 223. I will make money available. So please, Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, stop questioning where money will come from.
Mudavadi. My brother Mudavadi went to Western Kenya the other day. 3 helicopters, convoy of vehicles, to open a tap.
A tap?
Tap, water supply.
It's all about looking at government. CS Badi talking about compensation. Shakil Shabir talking about wastage. Your highlights for this week.
Yes. Don't you think they're brilliant highlights?
Yeah.
Jet, come on.
Yeah.
So let's just look at Badi's video. Badi talks about Kenya suffering. I agree with him. Kenyans are really suffering. Even under his hands as CS, he has not cushioned Kenyans. Okay? So I agree with him to that extent. I also agree that these issues of extrajudicial killings, murder, maiming, theft, corruption, have been there even before William Ruto. Okay? To that extent, I agree with him. But, and then also agree with him that as a CS of Treasury, the Constitution gives him powers to look for resources where there's need and allocate appropriately under Article 223. Again, I agree with him. I have no dispute. But the question that I would want to ask CS Badi, since you have powers to allocate resources and to look for resources when there's need, look for resources and ensure we have enough capitation for our children to go to school. Look for that money. Look for that money, you CS Badi. You CS Badi. Look for that money. And pay our doctors. And pay them well. You CS Badi. Since you say you have money and you have no money, stop borrowing. You're borrowing excessively. You CS Badi. Since you say your powers to look for money and allocate. Look for money and allocate. And build proper schools. All schools. Children we've seen schools. Even in Tharaka. Children are landing under trees. And CS Badi is boasting how he can look for money and allocate. So look for that money and allocate. Put the money where it should go to. Put money where Kenyans will benefit. It is not your money, it is taxpayers' money. But having said that, Jed, I am also in full agreement that those families that are affected need some form of comfort. Not compensation, some form of comfort. Because, Jed, you cannot compensate death. In fact, not death. Death is okay, because it happens naturally. But murder, extrajudicial killings, cannot be compensated. How can you compensate? How can you come and kill somebody, then you compensate? How can that happen? In fact, the Bible says what? Sword for sword. That's the only way. That's why only you can compensate. That you remove somebody's neck, we also remove yours. That's a fair compensation. So if CS body and the Kenya Kwanza government wants fair compensation, they talk about compensation. That's fair compensation. But it's just to restore the families. And it is, I agree with him, and I agree with others who are saying that in African culture, when there's death, natural death, or whatever death, we come together to condole with the families. But it is also an African to kill. Do you people kill in Murima?
No.
Where I come from, we don't kill. We don't kill. We only kill chicken. But we don't kill human beings. So you cannot compensate death, murder, with any form of cash. Okay?
Yeah.
So this William Ruto's administration needs to be reminded very firmly that there's no form of money that can compensate it. Now look at Shabir's video.
Yeah.
Shabir has revisited this thing that you Gen Zs, that took the Gen Zs to the street.
Yes.
Shabir has reintroduced in a very nice way. I'm sure even you were smiling when you were watching Shabir's statement. He has spoken so well. This is the type of leaders we need in Kenya. These are the people we want in parliament. People who care. People who care for humanity. People who care for human beings. Not murderers and thieves and corrupt fellows. Okay? So he's revisited and he said, listen, we are living so extravagantly. Choppers. I don't know how many choppers. There are 47 governors. So if each one of them was taking 3, over 150 choppers must have landed in Homa Bay. If you are taking 3, even if you are taking 2 to almost 100 choppers landing in Homa Bay. Can this country afford such luxury, opulence? Leave alone the 20 million watches that some of them are putting on, 2 million shoes that some of them are putting on. Yet our children are walking around with buttocks showing. It's shameful, Jed. It's so shameful. These are people, if I became president of this country, I would do a Duterte on them. I would do a Duterte on them. You can't be living in opulence and your people are suffering. What type of leadership is this one? But what was most annoying, and I agree with my friend Shabir, is that my good friend, I know he's misleading my friend, Mudavadi. Please, how can you take a chopper, 2 or 3 choppers, fly all the way to Busia to visit my very good friend and neighbor, Uncle Mudi Awori? You're going there on a chopper instead of taking serious development like other regions, like Nyanza is receiving, roads, industry, and what have you. You are going to launch a tap of water. So I agree with Shabir that that's very shameful. That tap should have not even that tap should be a village chief opening that tap, not a whole prime cabinet secretary. Opening a tap like this, a tap,
Minister of Foreign Affairs.
a tap, Jed. So shameful. I'm so annoyed, and I'm going to look for this friend of mine, and I'll tell him this is nonsense. Stop it. But most importantly, Jed,
Yes.
the president spoke about austerity measures. Are these the austerity measures? He's still living in opulence. The other day, even saw him trying to walk around a prince, Kenyatta, the man who grew up in State House. You know, when Mama Gina produced that boy, it was the State House. So there's nothing you're not seeing. Now you pretend you're a villager and you want to take this boy around State House, saying, now, look at what I've done. It is just stupidity and backwardness. So they must be very, very careful, because these are the things that are annoying Kenyans.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, Jed, if they don't change, I'm predicting Gen Z round 3 is coming. Gen Z round 3 is coming. This one will mapangali.
A conversation today is all about the state of the nations. State of the nation, Kenya is on the edge. Politics has never become this serious. The president's actually accusing Parliament of graft, saying they're extorting the executive. The judiciary is coming and saying, look, we have to listen to these people. If you have an issue with how we are giving bails and bonds, you can appeal, Mr. President. I'm also going to talk about compensation for victims, a state of the nation. We're going to talk about Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua jetting back on 21st. He made these damning allegations that the president is beating Al-Shabaab. He's requested to come out and write a statement to the DCI, but the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, while in America, says the only people he can answer to is in the Senate, because they're the ones probing this Al-Shabaab and the Sudanese militia, the president's dealings with them. That is my conversation with Kisia. Kisia, when you look at what is happening, would you say Kenya's democracy is at the edge? And have the stakes ever become this high when you're looking at what you're calling Mapangale Gen Z round 3 coming, and the country is on an all-time hit?
I think, Jed, you've come with a lot of fire.
A lot is happening.
You've come with a lot of fire this day. I don't know what we ate last night.
Yeah.
But you've raised fundamental issues. Of course, there's the issue of the CJ saying, listen, Mr. President, if you're unhappy with a ruling, go to court. We are a democratic country. We believe in the rule of law. Don't start issuing statements in a baraza. You are the president, for heaven's sake. Stop lamenting. Do the right thing. But I think we have a president who believes that everything must go his way. All the rulings must favor him. It does not work that way in a democracy. There are certain rulings which are made in their favor, which annoy us as public. But because we believe in a constitution, we, take it in stride. So, Mr. President, take things in stride. You are here today, you'll not be here tomorrow. This is our country. Don't behave as if you own this country, that everything must be done your way. It is either your way or the highway. Forget. We are living in a modern Kenya where if you think you are going to bulldoze everybody, or you are going to die from stress, I'm giving free advice. He'll die of stress. He's going to die. Stress will kill him. Rigathi has been in the US, I think, for a month or so, or 5 weeks or so. And they're saying whatever he said. Don't start issuing threats that you're going to arrest him. He has freedom to express himself. Whether in the toilet, in the US, in Wamunyoro, wherever it is, he has freedom to express himself. The Constitution does not say that when you're expressing yourself, you should express yourself from Ruto's bedroom. No. It says express yourself. So I am happy that Rigathi went. He said whatever he has said. If you're unhappy, well and good. That's democracy. But you can't force people to speak or not to speak. That's not democracy. The other thing is that whatever information Rigathi has, because Rigathi was part of the executive, he used to attend and sit in the National Security Council meetings. So there's a lot he knows. He can't just be speaking in vain. What they should try and attempt to do, is to call him in a small room and say, the damage, you're causing damage. Please, Kenya is bigger than all of us. Can you probably tone down a bit? But that needs elders like me. It's not people like William Ruto. He's not an elder. Not yet. Bado kidogo. Okay? So, but you have raised four key issues that I picked. One is the issue of graft. Then I asked myself, okay, who is qualified to talk about graft? It cannot be William Ruto. You've talked about the issue of performance, the president's performance. Well, self-appraisal is okay, but self-praise should be avoided. Self-appraisal is okay, but self-praise should be avoided at whatever cost. This man is chest thumping. I think he's living some illusions that is a performer. He's not a performer. I've said this before and approved, and Kenyans approved, and Kenyans have given him 2 out of 10 and F. Okay. The other thing that you've raised is the issue of victims who have been killed, and you're talking about compensation. And I've said earlier, Jed, that you cannot compensate murder. The only way you can compensate murder is also by remove your neck. Pop! Once we chop off your neck, that is a fair game. But anything short of that, you are just restoring. You're trying to calm down the family. Okay? The third thing that, final one, we should, because getting to just look at it from a contextual point of view, is the issue of Al-Shabaab. It's a serious matter. And that issue needs to be nabbed. You know, we've suffered Al-Shabaab attacks so many times. Even the other day, our chiefs were picked like chicken. And Murkomen said they are negotiating. Even Murko, the head of security, the CS in charge of security said, yes, our guys have been picked up like chicken and we're negotiating with these guys. So the issue of Al-Shabaab, Jed, is a serious matter and we need to address it with the seriousness it deserves.
Let's get into the real issues. When you look at the president accusing Parliament of graft, extorting, it was in the devolution at 12 meeting, extorting governors, extorting the executive. What does this really mean when it comes to Kenya's governance structures, that you cannot pass anything in Parliament without offering something? And what will this lead to when it comes to separation of power? Can the executive actually work with the legislature moving on? Because we're expecting a rebuttal from the speaker should speak about this, MPs will speak about this.
Jed, you know, you've raised a very, very serious question. But then you start to talk about Wetangula as speaker. Wetangula, I don't think will say anything. Because Wetangula, there's no difference between Wetangula and the executive. Okay? So I don't expect him to say anything.
But the executive is saying...
I don't expect him to say anything.
We are not in...
I don't expect him... Let's wait.
The president says we are not with them. They're asking for money.
God willing, you mentioned Wetangula's name.
We will be here on Friday.
We'll be on Friday. Let's see whether he'll do anything or say anything. But let me say this. In fact, before I address the question that you've raised, there are 2 videos that I came across. One was of Ruto himself lamenting about graft and the parliamentarians going rogue and demanding for bribes to do their job. The other one is actually basically Shabir responding to the president and say, it starts with you. Let's play them out.
Our president was the Minister of Agriculture. There was the maize scandal, remember? People were told that they were going to be given flour and maize, so everybody got and bought a posho mill. All members of parliament, everybody else. They bought a posho mill.
Like I have a posho mill now.
You bought a posho mill, and then you were called to the Ministry of Agriculture, and you were given a handwritten note that you are going to take so much maize. As you walked out, and this I know, there were these millers, all of these big millers. They're sitting there. Okay, later you note. You give him the note. He says, go in the car there. And it's your thing. You pick your stuff. Oh. And that was happening. It happened. And one member of parliament, I know for a fact. And then I asked her. She literally admitted it.
That's the president devolution at 12. That's MP Shakil Shabir. He's saying, well, the president was actually an agriculture minister. You are there. Explain more what Shabir is saying. You're in
Jed,
City Hall then, you knew everything that is happening.
you know, listen, I've been around. I know even things that happen even now.
Yeah.
But there are two things in that question that you're bringing up. The first thing is the issue of governance.
Yes.
Then the issue of separation of power.
Yes.
Okay, how are we governing ourselves? And and then in that context, we have executive, judiciary, and the legislature.
Yes.
So each one of them have got their own roles. But when the president made that statement, then I remember this English saying that goes like this: monkey see, monkey do. In fact, if you listen to Shabir's video, he says, but it all starts with you, Mr. President. Then I asked myself, the other thing I asked myself, Jed, is the president is the consumer number one of intelligence reports. Every morning they're brought to him. He knows who is corrupt, who is not corrupt. He knows who is stealing, who is not stealing. And because he has all those instruments of power that enable him to perform, my question is, why has President Ruto not taken action? He has ESCC, he has DCI. He is only coming to lament in public. What does he expect Mwananchi to do? What does he expect Mwananchi to do? Okay? Then there is the issue of he reminded me, the president reminded me, when he was Minister of Agriculture, like Nani is saying, Shabir, the maize scandal. And there was a time, forget about the maize scandal, but there was a time Kenya had to import a lot of maize when he was minister. And according to Shabir, and even I was there, and we were all there. Maybe not you.
Yeah, I was
Maybe you
there.
had a toddler
I
that
was
time.
there.
Toddler
I
that
was
time.
there.
Instead of those letters of importation being given to real millers, they are being given to members of parliament. You go and queue in his office, say, chukua barua. So, it's bribery. You leave the office, Minister of Agriculture. In the reception, you find the miller there. You surrender the letter. You're told, kwenda kwa gari and pick up your thing. So what was that? That was serious bribery. I'm just surprised that no action was taken. We all know, Jed, when these bills are being passed in Parliament, we all know. Brown envelopes. We know. There's exchange of brown envelopes. Some members of Parliament have been admitted that brown envelopes exchanged in toilets. And I agree with Shabir, who has that money? Who gives members of Parliament? Whose interest would an organization want a bill to be passed? In whose interest? Is government. Government wants the bill to pass. So if there's any bribery to pass that bill, like the finance bill of 2023,
Yes.
see, there was money exchanging hands.
Yes.
Who gave money if it's not government? Is that not bribery? Then when Rigathi was being punished for nothing, and I'm not speaking on behalf of Rigathi, but he was punished.
Yeah.
The members of parliament, even senators, some of them have admitted money exchanged hands. Who was bribing? Is it not government? So the result of all this, Jed, the result of all these things that we are talking about, one, there'll be erosion of trust. Serious erosion of trust between all the arms of government. Because if you accuse me of corruption, and yet you're more corrupt than me, we're supposed to work together. How can that happen? In fact, as somebody said, we're all thieves. So this thief cannot blame the other thief because you're just thieves. But trust will be eroded slowly and surely at a very fast rate. The other thing that, Jed, that we must be careful about is, this can trigger a crisis, okay, in terms of, or even paralyze the legislature.
How?
Boss, if you know you are being accused of corruption and you know that the accuser is one who is a facilitator, okay, how then will you be able to oversight? You'll be scared. You start getting scared. And maybe that's the strategy of William Ruto. Scare these people so that I weaken the oversight. I paralyze parliament so that they don't speak. So that, in fact, the only thing that they can survive on is my token. No speak, no oversight.
Just token.
Come for a token and shut up. Because if you open your mouth,
We have you.
I'll deal with you. Okay? So, and again, this should have immediately triggered investigation, that statement by the president, head of state, a consumer of intelligence. I don't know where ESCC is, my friend Dr. David Oginde. Where is he? A president has made a very serious statement to the effect that there's heavy corruption, there's bribery going on. Okay? And the majority of them are his MPs, now joined by ODM. But still is talking, I think Dave first is one talk about corruption. So where are we headed to, Jed? Now, Jed, if that statement by William Ruto is confirmed to be true, if it's confirmed to be true, then the outcome should be that accountability mechanisms can be strengthened. But again, if his statement is found to be, untrue, his power very soon will diminish and he'll be undermined. And if you had any evidence by now, the president should have moved very fast and presented it to ESCC.
You're a leadership expert. The president gave us his own self-assessment. You know, he talked about his leadership qualities, maybe political strategies that make him become the best president. How do you think this can affect public perception, looking at his self-assessment as a leader?
You know, Jed, please don't be talking about some things like strategy. Because, the president is not a strategist, he's a botanist. You know, to become a doctor, you must go and study medicine. To become an aeronautical engineer, you must go study aeronautical engineering. To be a strategist, you must go to class and study strategy or strategic management. So when you keep on saying strategy, come on, be serious.
No,
Strategic management is not, it's not an area for everybody. Tom, Dick, and Harry. You must study. But anyway, we are not here to
to give you flowers.
We are not
here to give you flowers.
We are not here
to give you flowers.
We are not here to say that he has no capacity of going back to school and study strategy.
Yeah.
I know he can. So the day he goes back to school and studies strategy, then please refer to him as a strategist.
Okay.
For now, just give him the right title, a botanist.
All right.
So, number one, Jed, in management, self-assessment is allowed. Actually, you can review yourself. It's a good thing to do. But there's a difference between self-assessment and self-praise, chest thumping. These are two different things. The other thing that, Jed, we must appreciate is that when in your head you're perceiving success with the little gains that you're making, little gains. Success in management is simple. And President Kibaki had introduced performance management system. Okay? With a performance management system, there are ways of assessing whether you're doing well or doing bad. Okay? This was supposed to deliver. These are resources that are required. Okay? So, when it comes to a review, we just ask, where's the scorecard? These are the things that you were supposed to have done, you have done, or you have not done. If you have done, to a certain level, we give you excellent. To a certain level, we give you very good. Another one, we give you good. Then we give you poor. So other than praising yourself and saying you're the best president, table your document. Give us to mark. You can mark yourself because in your head you perceive to be doing very well, but produce the social contract you signed with the people of Kenya, put it on the table, and then you start marking it. I've given you I'll give you an example that I've given in the past. He himself said, as an indicator, that within days from the time he takes over presidency, fuel costs from 170 to 100, unga from 160 to 70. Has that been achieved? That is how we measure your performance, your effectiveness, performance. There's no other way. There's no other way. I can tell you, Jed,
What you promised.
There's no other way. Not even what you promised. What you agreed, what you signed for.
Yeah.
When we strictly go by performance management, it is what you have signed for, not what is in your head. You can't keep on telling us now the dollar, it was 160, 170, now it is 130. No. What did you sign for? You must have signed for something. So the rate of success is measured against what had been signed for. So there must be a basis of you saying that I'm the best president that this country has ever had. In our own estimation, in our own understanding, this is the most incompetent, unqualified, useless president that this country has ever seen, that this country will ever produce. Because everything he produced has fallen flat on the ground. Show me one thing. Fuliza is not working. SHA is not working. There is insecurity. The economy is collapsing. People have no money in their pockets. People have no food. People are in pain.
He's going to give a grant of 50,000. Okay. Nyota, staff 254 hash.
Listen, forget about those grants. We've heard about them before, even Fuliza and what have you. What we are saying is, you have a social contract,
yes,
which says you are not performing. Okay? So, if he was a good manager, he would have followed what Kibaki has started. Performance management. And going by what you have set to achieve. Okay? And reporting. Quarterly reporting. Not reporting barassas. Jed, did you ever see President Kibaki standing, someone saying, I'm doing very well, I am doing very well. I am doing very well. My performance is very good.
Yeah.
He never did that. He would just keep quiet. State agencies come and report. This is what they signed for. This is what they have done. And based on the performance of the ministers, we then write the president. Because the president doesn't work. The president has people who work for him. So if those people are working through a performance management system, which is reviewed on a quarterly basis, then we can say the president is working. But standing in a meeting and say, I'm the best, I'm working, you are doing zero work.
When you say social contract, do you mean the manifesto?
Yes.
Because he says he's delivering the manifesto.
Which one? Diapers, bundles. There are many things. How many kilometers of roads has this man constructed? How many? How many? How many hospitals has he delivered? He talked about affordable housing because that's where he's making money.
Yes.
And his cronies. He talked about that one. That was my idea, by the way, but they stole it and they're just making money. They're not solving the problem that was there. Jed, even this affordable housing he talked about, delivering, I think, 200,000 units per year.
Yes.
He has been in office for the last 3 years. He has not even done 30,000. He has not.
So how do you assess him?
So don't ask me how to assess him, Jed. I've told you 1,001 times that performance management system, you sign for 1, 2, 3. And on a quarterly basis, we look at the performance indicators, we tick what you have delivered, and by the end of that financial year, we'll rate you, we'll say what I told you, excellent, good, whatever. But even based on his own, this man does not believe in performance management. He doesn't believe a performance contract. He doesn't believe.
No, he gave ministers performance
contracts. Have you heard him talk about it again? Other than, in fact, performance management, you sign before the year starts, not midway. And then they just signed as a ceremony, nothing after that. But during Kibaki's time, my friend, it was a serious matter. It was a very serious matter. Every quarter, you must report. People used to shake, I'm telling you. And not because of Kibaki. Kibaki says, oh, very good. Oh, yes, okay, very good. He is not bothered. My friend, you fry yourself. You signed, and your board, you signed. Talk to the Kenyans. Tell them what you have done. But this man does not believe in performance contracts, because even him, he wears off when an atoroka.
And what is,
He cannot put a focus on performance contracting.
maybe finally on this issue, what is the danger of not dealing with or actually reviewing your performance, especially for the president looking at his cabinet secretaries looking at their PSs and going down to the CEOs and board directors?
Let me tell you, straight answer: total failure. What else?
Let's talk about compensation. Makau Mutua is leading a team that is going to compensate, looking at how Kenyans will be compensated since 2017. What framework should be put in place or policies? Because there's a big debate on whether people should be compensated, who should be compensated. Is compensation enough? Which of course we've agreed it's not enough. You cannot give money to life. But what frameworks should be put in place, and how can we avoid favoritism? Because once we come up with compensation, there will be a lot of people will be coming and saying, I did not receive, why did these people receive? How do you think Makau Mutua should navigate through this?
Well, first of all, I wish Makau Mutua all the best. He has been given a job to do. It's cut out for him. But you've said, and I've said it before, you cannot compensate murder.
Yeah.
You cannot. But the first thing, even before we go through the framework that you're talking about, is a genuine public apology. In fact, that is more than compensation. If you genuinely come out, if William Ruto genuinely came out, and people look at him and say, for the first time, this man is at least sounding genuine. For the first time, he must come out genuinely and apologize to Kenyans, but most particularly to the mothers who carried the babies for 9 months. Most importantly, the mothers who carried those children for 9 good months. 9 good months, Jed. And William knows it, and I know it, and you know it. Our performance is limited. But the mother in the womb, 9 months, Jed, it is not a joke. So, yes, that mechanism is okay. But where is the apology? Genuine apology is missing. The second thing is, since we cannot compensate murder, extrajudicial killing, is about restorative justice. You're just restoring, okay? You are just calming down things. After apologizing, you're just saying, you know what? We cannot pay back, but we can bring in some level of restoration, okay? So let's come to the mechanism of doing this thing. First of all, the J.B. Muturi Commission, the People's Restorative Justice Commission is in force. It's already there. We have Kenya Human Rights. They are already there. I think these are the groups that need to lead this process. You cannot have the murderer or the person who oversaw murder leading that process. I'm not saying Mutua was part of it. Mutua was part of us. Mutua is exactly ours. But he has been given a job to clean the shit. Okay? So, this independent team can work with Mutua and others. They should develop a very clear framework. There need to be an acceptance, and this needs to be driven in Kenya Kwanza government's heads, that they must admit that going forward, the rule of law. Because if we just followed and abided by the constitution, we will not be in this mess. We will not be killing our children, murdering our children. It should never have happened. But it has happened. How do we get forward?
Yeah.
We can only move forward by making sure that we obey the rule of law. So I've talked about having independent bodies, working with the likes of Makau Mutua, those being gazetted. Let's have the stakeholders, the one led by JB, Kenya Human Rights Commission, religious bodies. I think these are the people who should drive this process. we need to come. They need to come up with a very clear accountability mechanism, because we don't want stories that we've had before, where people start coming and saying, "My son, my daughter was lost, shot in 2017." Okay, no compensation, or the money that was supposed to have been made for compensation, not compensation, restoration, has been embezzled. So what mechanisms are we putting in place to make sure that we come up with a process that will be so transparent, that will be so fair, that everybody say, you know what, after the president genuinely apologizing, we accept this token. It will not bring back our children, because I had, somebody went and asked Rex Masai's mother, and the mother said, "I don't want money. I just want back my son. Just bring back my son." So how do you get to deal with that one? Whereas he's saying, no, just get me my son.
Let's play Cleopas Malala's video.
Nauliza William Ruto, umesema unataka kucompensate watoto. Sijui bei yako ni ngapi. Sijui utatoa milioni 2, milioni 3 ama milioni 10. Lakini ile pesa ambayo utasema utatoa. Sababu kama mtu kufunga bao unampatia 1 million. Sasa hii ya mtoto utapeana ngapi? Si ndio? So sisi tumesema hivi. William Ruto, ile bei utasema. Ukisema kila kifo ni milioni 10. Sisi wa Kenya tunataka tuchange milioni 10, tukupatie pia wewe tuue mtoto wako, tuone kama hiyo milioni 10 inatosha.
Cleopas Malala speaking about compensation is saying, as much as he shouldn't say, but this is where we are as a country. If you give us money, should we give you money and then we take your child?
I think I'm glad you brought in that a video for Cleophas. Cleophas has put it bluntly, Jed. Cleophas is saying, listen, what I told you earlier, the only way to compensate is, that's the only way. So if you are saying that money can pay back somebody, let us also do the same to your children. Mapangale. Pap. And then you say, this one is 20 million, Kenya's we do Harambe.
So what would be justice, when you look at what is happening now?
Listen, that's what I'm saying. First of all, if you are if you are abiding by the law and the constitution, this will never have happened. But it has happened. The milk has been spilled.
Yes.
So it is about now going forward. But even before we go forward, how can we just restore? How can we just, calm people? How can we just say, okay, you know what? It has happened. We forgive you.
Yeah.
Okay? So that should be the starting point. We forgive you for all the sins, the pain, the brutality that you've muted to our families.
Yes.
We forgive you. That is even more than what these people are talking about, Kinabadi and the rest, that we're going to pay. We're going to pay. And that's why Cleophas is saying, if it's about payment, bring your son's head on the chopping board, tunalima, na tunalipa wewe. So it is simple, Jed. It's about restoration, calming people, and saying, as a nation, going forward, we need to behave in a civil manner. And this is how we shall move together as a nation. But the issue on that one, in closing, Jed, there must be an audit mechanism. It must be so transparent. For the first time, let us see something. And I have faith in Mutua. I've not heard his name in corruption. He's not a greedy man. He's not a greedy man. I'm hoping that the things will be done in the open, that you can just see so-and-so's family has been compensated, so-and-so died this day, blah, blah, blah. This is it. Not compensated, just some token, not even. Because you can't pay. I don't know. It's about restoring something, Yeah. It's not about compensation.
Finally, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is jetting back to the country on Thursday, 21st. He's made accusations on Al-Shabaab. And I just want to know, as we're winding up, Kisia, 2 questions in one. the Al-Shabaab thing about accusing the president, how dangerous is it for national security if proven or disproven? He's coming back. They want him to write a statement to the DCI. Some say if he doesn't write, let him be arrested. Others say when he comes back, there will be a storm from JKIA, people to welcome him back. This might actually be the day Kenyans realize that he's going to be the flag bearer because all mechanisms of court have not been exhausted. Two questions in one. What is your thinking about Gachagua accusations coming back and taking over?
There's nothing to accuse Gachagua about. What are you accusing him of? That's nonsense. He has freedom to express himself. He has expressed himself. The information, as I said earlier, Jed, the information Gachagua has, Rigathi, the system has it. So don't hide behind Gachagua. Act on the information you have. Okay? But I can tell you, if Gachagua's pronouncements, and there's evidence to the effect, and I have no doubt because he sat in the Security Council, if it is proven, this Jed can create a national crisis, a security crisis. Because all these things cannot be happening. And you as a head of state, you know they're happening. This Al-Shabaab attack, you discuss in the Security Council, no action is taken. Or is it that that information was not provided by those organs that are responsible, NIS? Is it that they're incompetent and they could not gather that information, intelligence, and share with the president? So, you know, this can really trigger a serious security breach, and probably heads should roll. If it is failure from NIS, we would expect that the entire chain is dealt with. But supposing it is the head of state, because he's the chairman of that Security Council, that the information he has and he failed, then we should be asking very, very serious questions, because his responsibility number one is to secure our borders, is to secure the people of Kenya. And if you have failed on that constitutional mandate, the best thing you ask him what to happen is for him to resign, because it's a heavy failure on his part. Okay?
Gachagua is coming back.
So Gachagua is coming back.
State of the nation now.
He is coming back. Hope you go and receive him. He's a good man. I've said it before. In fact, I'm the one who started saying on this show that he's a truthful man.
Yes.
So the truthful man is coming back. The Kenyans who love him, the Kenyans who appreciate him, go and receive him. He is your son, and he's coming back home. It should not be a big deal. But those who are talking about arresting somebody, they should arrest themselves. They should start by arresting themselves.
Professor Kindiki, CS Murkomen.
Kindiki should be arrested. Murkomen should be arrested. Those are the people, they should arrest themselves. Because they sit in the Security Council. What Gachagua is talking about, they most certainly have that information. So if you fail to act on it, and somebody has smoked you out, you cannot blame them.
Do you think he'll be the flag bearer? Once he comes back, he's having this...
They talk about flag bearers. I know you people are pushing the loyal opposition to name a candidate. One candidate will be named at the right time and very soon.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation. Philip Kisia is all about state of the nation, what is happening. There's a lot of political hate. I hope from this conversation you can get to decipher what really is happening and how to interpret it for the better of policy and politics. We've talked about graft compensation. We've talked about the assessment of President William Ruto. We've also talked about Rigathi Gachagua coming back to the country. Leave a comment down below. But just as always, Philip Kisia with final words.
Jed, in conclusion, let's conclude today with two videos. One is the chairman of IBC. The other one is my friend, Junet Mohammed.
Office or organization, something called a server and how it works. I just normally know you are given a laptop and it's connected on the internet somehow, and there's circulation of documents and stuff like that. But this server business, we have to find ways of demystifying it.
This coming election is going to be an election and also a referendum. It's going to be an election that is going to determine this country once and for all the politics of exclusivity. Hii ya kuweka watu wengine pembeni na wengine wanakaa ndani itaisha 2027.
Saying the chairman of IEBC says he hasn't known where the door is, where the servers are, but we can revisit. We need to revisit and look at how to better our elections. Junet Mohammed there is also talking about this election being a decisive election that will determine the future of this country.
Mr. Chairman, careful. There are many other Kenyans who have been there who have chaired that commission, and they have ended up very poorly, very badly. Take your job more seriously. When you say that you have not even seen a server and what have you, there are serious things that you should be looking at. We have just, the first blunder that you made, the Constitution talks about gazetting the election taking place 90 days from the day you announce the vacancy. You give yourself 100 days, 120 days. As who? That's the first blunder you made. So you need to be careful. Okay? So don't tell us about breaking doors, having glass in any rooms so that we can see. We're not interested in seeing you anyway. What we just want you to do is to ensure we have a free, fair, transparent, credible, verifiable election in 2027. You have no other job, Mr. Chairman. And you must start with the elections. Na tumekumulika. These elections, by-elections, tumekumulika. Something going wrong, you'll be the first one to leave office before your term ends. Now, when you look at, again, my friend Badi's video.
Junet Mohammed.
Junet Mohammed. Junet, I think, is having a good life. But even as you're having a good life with your newfound partners, and you're in the same bed now, you're eating pudding, just remember that Kenyans are suffering. I agree with Junet that these elections will define many things. I also agree with him that indeed there will be a referendum. But there will be a referendum to change this country forever. To make sure that the elections are free and fair. To make sure that the will of the people is respected and nobody interferes with the will of the people. It will make sure that Kenya is one. And going forward, Kenya will be one. Kenya will not be divided among tribal lines. We saw what Ruto did when he took over. More than 60% of the appointments were his folks. Okay? So if that is what they're talking about, inclusivity, just because now they're in government, a few of them, that is not inclusivity. Inclusivity means that everybody, people from all spheres of life feel accommodated. They feel wanted. They feel like this is their country. But finally, yes, even as they're saying that William Ruto is likely to win, I don't know how he's going to win. I don't know. First of all, even with Raila on the ballot, the turnout in Luo Nyanza was 65%. When he was on the ballot, you had Ruto asking, Bwana, nipatie kura yako. What he's telling, Ruto is asking Jacom, don't, please, I voted for you now, it is you support me. So when Jacom was on the ballot, turnout was 65% or thereabout. The William Ruto, he disrespected the Murima. They have taken off. You people have taken off. 47% of the vote. What is replacing? He expected, that's why he's spending so much time in Nyanza. In Western, we are still waiting for the 30% through Musalia and Wetangula. 30% of government, 30% of everything, 1,000 kilometers of road, 30% of appointments. Even if you look at the last appointments he has just made, one lawyer. Shame on him. Finally, the Gen Z that is now trying to be buddy with, give them wheelbarrows, give them this thing of selling sausages, these small little things.
Yes.
Instead of talk about innovation, Jed, it's talk about transformation.
Yeah.
This man talk about wheelbarrows and mkokoteni. Look at his mind, Jed. And you, Gen Z, don't be fooled when you go to State House. Take those wheelbarrows and throw them away. Take the money, eat the money. Let us prepare for a government that would transform this nation.
Yes.
But mothers,
yes,
your children have been murdered by this fellow. Or his regime, rather. Please, send him home.
Thanks for tuning into this and share this video with as many people as possible so that we reach anyone out there who cares, who actually cares about this country. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye for now. Have yourself a lovely weekend.